Let's compare this new file with the last file that just included the delete functionality so we can see what's changed between them. Again, I'm going to use a file comparison tool. So what I'm going to do is take the 6th step and move it to the left side of our comparison, and then take the 7th step, which includes the add form, and put that on the right side and compare. So I'm going to just scroll through this so you can quickly see where the changes are. You see towards the top, the files are identical, but then we get a little bit of changes here, a lot more code on the new file, and we continue to add that new code. And then at the very bottom, we have a couple of additional changes. So let's see where those changes are. I'm going to try to align these as best I can. The first difference is in our, if we scroll up here, our people display function. We're returning an additional link here to the output. So whereas before we were just returning the output, now we're returning this link that will point us to our test.php file, but the action will now be add form instead of, say, delete. And if we scroll down, we now have an add form function here. If we look at the code, we see that it's a pretty simple form here, and when it gets submitted, it will get pointed to test.php with the action of add. So we have one more additional action to keep track of. So we have add form or add, and then we have our sets of inputs: first name, birth year, favorite band, shoe size, username, and password, and then our submit button. Okay, I'm going to keep scrolling down here. Notice that we're initializing an output variable this time. Now the idea here is that we're either going to display a list of the users or we're going to display an add form, but we're not going to display both. So this output is where we're going to capture the output to the browser. So just like before in our script, we're going to check to see if the action is set in the get variables, and then we're going to switch based on that. Before we only had our delete case, but now we have two other cases. We have add form and add to take care of as well. So remember how I mentioned before we were using a switch statement just in case we wanted to extend this script later? Well, this is where that comes into play. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more here, and we'll take a look at these different cases. So the add form case, if add form is the action in the URL, what we're going to do is return the output from the add form, which again is our form to fill out for adding a new user. We're going to add that to the output and then break. Now, once we break out of this, I'm just going to skip this add here for a moment. Then we're going to check to see if the output is empty, and if so, then we're going to render the people display. Now again, that function is what renders the list of our users along with the delete link. But if the output isn't empty, which it wouldn't be if we added the add form to it, then we're not going to add this to the output. So this will give us either the form or the list of people. And then finally, we're going to print the notices plus the output.